Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Everyone's expecting. If you know that well, you know. Do as I say, not as I do. Welcome, friends, you know. Unity in all that.
Hey, welcome everybody to Drunk Dudes in a Gun Room. We are recovering from the Herostock hangover, and today I got Jason Steiner back on one more time just to discuss how it went and what to look forward to. Hey, how's it going, Jason?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, man.
Awesome.
So now that we're 2 days past Herostock and you've been on like 4 more podcasts already.
I've been around already. Whoa. There's no time to stop, right? You gotta just jump right back into it and strike while the iron's hot. So just keep it rolling. So
yeah, man. So one of the things that I loved about Herostock and I talked a little bit about it Tuesday for our motivational was, you brought back the camaraderie. Literally, that's the one thing that just about every soldier, every service member from every branch when they leave, that's what they miss. And I think that's where the spiral comes down to. And if you was standing back, so, I was kind of in the back of the room looking forward, and I kind of got a frontal view of, there wasn't like cliques or, Air Force here and Marines over here. Everybody was just mingling and talking to everybody. And
right.
I got back and I was like, man, I was just so proud of you, man, because you just nailed it.
We did. It exceeded my expectations. And we didn't get the numbers that we hoped we would. The Jesse thought we would. He really thought we'd see that 3,000 to 5,000 number, and honestly, we had 1,000 to 1,200 people cruise through the door. It was the perfect number. It was manageable. People still got to mingle. We had 44 vendors that showed up, and as I was talking to them, they were all like, "Man, we've had more traffic at this event than we've had at any other event we've ever been to." So it checked that box where, we're getting people in front of these nonprofits and for-profits to let them understand, help veteran businesses, help veteran nonprofits, be a part of it, understand what they are and be a part of it. So it's cool that we hit that box. There was no major hiccups. I actually had a nightmare one night, about 3 days before the event, that the parachuter guys fell out of the sky and their parachutes didn't open. And I'm like, there was stuff behind the scenes that happened, but nobody noticed it.
Right.
Friday night, Jesse was just telling us this last night, like, they didn't have an organization to do the mentorship program for the motorcycle. Now, he didn't let us know this, thank God, or I'd have been sitting in the corner rocking and crying.
Yeah.
But, they didn't even have the mentorship program because they had 2 other groups that had backed out. And, Miles for Heroes jumped in and they're like, "Hey, we'll do it. We've done it before. Let's go. Let's do this."
That's awesome.
Yeah. And things came together. It really went off without a hitch. And technically this is year one for us. You
Yep.
know, last year it was a garage party that we threw together in 45 days. And, you know, it was a one night, one off deal. This is technically our first year, you know, and we brought in 16 states. We had 44 vendors. We had a senator walking around.
Who did?
You know, it was incredible. And to see the support that we got, you know, on the front end of that, with the amount of people that showed up to it, the people that stayed. You know, usually you see something like this, especially an 8.5 hour event. You see a lot of people that come early and they leave late, you know, leave early, or they get there late and they stay to the end. And we had people that were there all day long.
Yeah.
You know, they showed up at 2:00 for the cornhole and they were there until 10:30 at night when we started tearing down.
Yeah. I mean, you can go to my website and watch the 7-hour video, and there is no time as you're looking out at the stage that the camera is not filled full of people.
Yep.
You know? There was still people there when I started tearing everything down to put away, and there was still people filled in the camera, you know.
Yep.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, what if somebody else wanted to do something like this, you know, another organization, what advice would you give them to plan and get it started and so forth?
Don't do it. plan on a lot of work. Yeah. You know, we had it October 22nd last year, was Vet Stock, the original. It was probably the week and a half after we got together and we started talking about it. You know, what we were going to do this year. And we were literally flying by the seat of our pants. Like, Jesse's the only one that's done any sort of an event like this, even close to this. And his, you know, his pertained to motorcycles. It wasn't bands and cornhole and rucking and jumpers and, you know, IW and a motorcycle ride. And there were so many pieces, you know, that went into this. And, you know, if I were to give somebody advice, I would say, you know, you're planning minimum 20 hours a week for 12 months to put something like this together. And that was just me. Like, that was just my side of it. I was doing about 20 hours a week. You know, I had to surround yourself with great people. My board is freaking amazing. They great bouncing ideas off of each other, talking things through. I'm the big dreamer of the board. So I want to grow it 10 times faster than it should grow. And we've got a couple people on the board that are like, whoa, hold on, slow down. Let's think this through. And I'm like, no, we got to do Nashville and Michigan and Texas and Virginia and Arkansas. And they're like, whoa, we're all only on year one. And I'm like, but we've got all these people that want us. And so I've got a great board that will throw that line out and kind of reel me back in and say, okay, let's break this down a little bit. Let's talk about it. You know, and that's a huge thing, is to have people that A, have the same vision as you, B, that are not greedy. Yeah. They want this vision to come true. And C, that aren't afraid to put in the hours. One of my board members actually missed the pre-party because he was building cornhole boards.
Oh, wow.
So that we had cornhole boards for the tournament. You know, and people, my group, my team, they're not afraid to jump in and get their hands dirty. And that really, honestly, that's what made the event what it was. Not sure this should be the face of what we're doing, but you know, I was on the podcast. I was on the news. I was on the radio. I did that side of it. You know, but my group, my team, Tim, Cindy, Ron, Cindy's husband, Dan, Ron's wife, Jenny, Tim, Cray, Jesse, and Coco, just amazing people. And they busted their ass to make it happen. And, you know, I got a lot of pats on the back, and I really wanted to divert those to those people because they did more of the behind the scenes stuff than I did. So, you know, we're still learning. You know, we're year one, so we went into our AAR meeting last night and realized the silent auction probably could have been better. We probably should have shortened the length of it a little bit so that people stuck around for the headliner. And there was some other things that came up, and we talked through them, and part of it was thinking that we were going to have that many people, and then once we found out we didn't, we got the chairs out for people to sit down. And that was one of the complaints that I'd heard is we didn't have chairs, and going into it, not having any idea what you're going to have show up, and we were thinking 3,000 to 5,000 people. I'm like, we can't have chairs out.
Right.
Like there will be no room to sit down. We're going to be asshole to elbow in here, and you can't have it out.
Yeah.
So, it was some of those kind of things where, the venue kind of dictated certain things, and, the size of it and that kind of stuff. But you adapt and overcome, and you've got to have that skill set to be able to adapt and overcome doing anything like this.
Yep. And just like you said earlier, or maybe it was in the last podcast we were in, but you guys had the exact right number, because more doesn't necessarily mean better. And
Right.
and you get that many people standing there and they can't move, and a lot of people aren't gonna feel as comfortable as they did. Now
Right.
there's too many people in your bubble, and everybody's tight. So
Yep.
yeah, I think it worked out exactly the way it was supposed to work out. And
Right.
I had zero complaints, on my side, doing my own little after action review. I learned some things from the podcasting side. So everybody that was talking around me, you could hear great, but because they were so loud and the mics were picking them up, I couldn't get a lot of the sound quality from the bands. So I'm going to buy wireless mics so that, we can put mics up on the stage and I can still be back. Cause I got, video wise, I think I got really good coverage. The video part of it is where I was lacking, and, we just, again, like you said, we adapted and overcame, and we started doing more of the podcasting versus focusing on the sound, because there was just, people ordering and talking and having a great time like they should be.
Right.
Mics were in the wrong spot, so that was a lesson learned on our part. And just like you said, I'll get better and we'll get bigger, and things will come together. And
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's not about worrying about if we have mistakes or not. It's about accomplishing the mission. And we, without a doubt, you guys accomplished that mission. The veterans felt at ease. The people that came enjoyed it, whether they were military or not. Everybody loved the bike giveaway. You could just tell the passion in the crowd. Nobody wanted to turn their head and miss a single word that was being spoke. So I think with all that being said, man, I think you guys nailed it. I don't know how you're going to top it. I really don't.
That's going to be the tough part for us is how are we going to top this year? Do we bring in the Blue Angels? Do we, it's like, man, how do you beat what we did? And, and I've been getting a lot of messages, and I've been passing them on to my team, and, hey, this is what people are saying, and, and that kind of stuff. And so with our silent auction, we didn't have an end time on it, which screwed us, because we ended up like 9:30 at night. I was like, dude, we never did anything with the auction. And, we went and we picked up the papers. Well, half the people were already gone. So like, I've been meeting with people, this week, trying to get their stuff out to them that they want on the silent auction. And I met with a lady yesterday, and she works for the VA. Her husband's in the Army. He was in the Army. He is getting med boarded out. Doesn't want to get out. They have no family here. They heard about the event. They came out to it, and he had been contemplating suicide. Actually had tried twice. very depressed. They showed up at the event not knowing really what it was.
Yeah.
And they knew that there was music and they knew there was vendors, and that was about all that they really knew about it. And she said, you created a home for him for one day where he could be around like-minded people. He could talk without feeling judged. He could talk to these vendors that he didn't know, because that's one of the things that I really hit me last year was, we had 12 nonprofits show up out at the event last year, and I knew like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people are literally in my backyard. How do I not know these people? I've been in this nonprofit world for 4 years, and, I'm very active in the nonprofit world. And so that, that really hit me last year. And that was one of our big focuses this year is let's bring in these great nonprofits that I know that are doing great work and try to introduce them to veterans that don't know about them, and he was one of them. He actually joined one of them last night or the other night, Saturday night. And he's in talks, with his wife. Him and his wife have been talking about a couple of the other ones that were there that he wants to get involved with and get him out of the house, because he's literally sitting there waiting to be med boarded out. And, he needs that connection with the military that he has now, to help him through that dark time. So.
And that's just, like we've said in the past, man, when you leave that military, especially in his situation where he doesn't want to, now it's not just, like for me, I decided it was time to retire. It's being literally grabbed and ripped off him. His identity, job, his feeling of being a part of something bigger than himself is all being ripped away from him. And if you don't have that cushion to fall in, almost all of us that are in this group that we have know where that comes from, that we know where that leads, and you can see it. You can see that, the path when you see somebody going down and you're like, yeah, I know where the end is if you don't get off that highway,
Right. Yep.
And
so and he was one of the multiple this year. Last year we had one that really hit me hard. One story from last year, and the kid ended up joining a couple different nonprofits and very active in them. He's, he showed up to the event this year for a really short time. He had some other stuff that he had to do, but that's the impact that we're trying to have is if you can save that one, that's my goal every year. If I can save one, that's my goal. If I can save 10, man, I fully exceeded my goal. And that's my own personal goal. That's not Herostock's goal or not the board's goal. That's my own personal goal. And and you start hearing some of these stories and some of the feedback that you get, and it's like, okay, well, we did it. We hit that mark. We hit that one. We checked that box. And to make sure that one person walked away going, okay, now I have to be here for next year, because this year was badass. What's next year going to be? And that's the main focus of what I want to do personally, is to make that connection every year to somebody that is in that dark place, and they have that reason now to not do what they were going to do, and find that purpose.
I think there's something else that you're accomplishing too. And I can speak for myself. When I was looking out at the crowd, man, there was so many people that was there with their families, and the guys that are going through that, we all know that there's a front put on, but once they get home and behind the doors, life can be just as much hell for the kids and the spouses as it is for the veteran, because now that's where he takes the mask off and he's just back to being miserable, But at that event, the mask was gone and the family got a piece to see what it used to be like before trauma, before the problems, for that one day the kids were happy, the husband, the wife were all united, and they felt like they did before the depression and the problems,
Right.
and you're bringing families back. You're not just bringing one veteran out of darkness. You're bringing one veteran out of the darkness, and you're bringing families that are still trying to heal back
Yep.
together.
Yep. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've got a really good friend. He was Army EOD, severe PTSD, severe anxiety. He told me a while ago, he's like, dude, he goes, I'm going to come out early before the crowd gets there. He goes, I just want to let you know this. It's nothing against you or the event. He said, but I'm only going to stay a short time, and then I'm going to bounce out because I can't do crowds and I can't do loud noises. And I'm like, no, man, I get it, right? I understand that. So, I'd love to have you come out and spend all day there, but I get why you can't. And they showed up probably about 3:30. I think it was about 8:30 or 9 when they left.
Wow.
And he sent me a text and he goes, brother, thanks for what you do for the veterans. I totally felt at ease at this event and wanted to stay longer, but my back couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
And for me, that was like, I know how he is. Like at hockey games, his daughter plays hockey too. And at hockey games, he goes and stands by himself at the end of the boards because he doesn't like being around people.
Yeah.
Even in that setting, where you've got 20 people around you. Well, now you're talking 1,000 people around you. And he literally sat in a chair for 4 hours and just hung out and listened to the music and talked to people and engaged and and he wants to be a bigger piece of what we're doing.
That's awesome, man.
So
it ain't no secret, man. Being part of the nonprofit world is healing as well. When you're out there serving, it's a form of therapy as well, and a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, that's why I've started podcasting and why I love what I'm doing, because it does bring the positive stuff. You get to start seeing the new you and see the positive side of the new you, not just the negative. And,
right.
and it's amazing to be a part of something. It puts you a part of something that's bigger than you, like it was in the military.
Yep. Yeah, and I've said this before. Mentally, I'm in a better place than I've been in a long time. And I had that high when we first started the Nebraska Warriors hockey program. And then we had the issues on the board and things kind of crashed, and I kind of fell into a bad place because we were trying to figure out A, how to keep the program together, B, how to fix what happened, without, major issues and that kind of thing. And Herostock was a spinoff of it, or Vetstock, was a spinoff of it. And now Herostock, I'm not a religious person, but the way things have happened since Herostock has started, there's a higher power that's been in play. It's the path that I feel like I need to be on right now, because we are changing lives. We are, touching people. We are creating something bigger than ourselves. I'm being put into contact with amazing folks. You, Contagion Effect, Tom, Shadow Mark. I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. Ricky, the Unzip Mind guys, and it was super cool for me to have all of these guys and gals that I've talked to on podcast come into Ashland, Nebraska for our event.
Yeah.
I'd messaged Barbara Sim a handful of times, and I texted Scotty and maybe talked to him a couple times on the phone. But to actually have, all you guys and gals together, me and Taylor live 45 minutes away from each other. I've never been to one of her performances because I'm always so damn busy. But that's a new relationship that that we all have because of Herostock. And it has opened up great doors for myself, to have that group of friends that, I might be having a shitty day, but our chat starts going off, and I'm in there just rolling, laughing, and you never know what Tom's going to say. And so it's mentally, for me, I'm a million times better than I was 2 years ago. So, and it gives you that sense of purpose. It gives you the sense of service, and to know that you are really changing lives. That's a huge deal, man.
Yeah. And I know a lot of the guys are talking about how long the podcast and everything was, but that's what I want Gunroom Radio to be a part of. I want to be documenting this because I think it's important, and I want people to be able to see, what some of these veteran artists are doing, and the lives that they're changing, and the stories that you hear. Nobody knows what the future holds, and to have stuff like this documented, and the stuff that people did, regardless whether the world turns out great or bad, there's going to see that there was good, and that's why being a part of you guys, and being there to document and record and hang out, man, it was important to me. And the whole time I was there, I said, man, this is what Gunroom Radio needs to be. We need to be just like you guys, where everything that we're about puts the veterans into a nice environment that they enjoy and they feel comfortable, and everybody can just have a damn good time,
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to when we come down for June of 24 for Herostock here. I'm going to try my damnedest to hit as many Herostocks that you have, and I definitely will hit the one in Nashville. I'll definitely hit the one here, and I'll definitely be back in Nebraska. We just got to see where money takes us, and all that type of stuff, But
sure,
I want to be a part of this from now till the end of whenever the last Herostock is.
Right. Well, and I hope Herostock outlives me.
Yeah.
I hope when my time comes that somebody else jumps in and takes the reins and has the same vision that I have and the same drive that I have, and they want to see this continue on until the end of time. Because what we've done in the last 2 years has been something really special. And it literally started as a conversation in my front yard. Like, we were doing one band. Well, now we're doing two bands. Okay. Originally it was throwing axes, and it really wasn't supposed to go past October 22nd of last year. And here we are. We just finished the event, and you flip on Facebook or hell, you go to Instagram or TikTok, and people are talking about it, man. And it's cool to see that, that people have understood what we're doing now, and they've seen it, they've touched it, they've felt it, they've smelled it, they want it. And it's cool to me that that's happened, because it was literally a bullshit conversation between me and another Marine in my front yard. It was Carson Pollard. He ended up making it out there on Saturday, and he cruised around for a little bit, and I happened to catch him in one of the 3 seconds that I had free, and he's like, dude, you've done it. Like, you've hit the mark, man. You've done this. And I'm like, I haven't. Like, my team has. I never want to be the one where somebody goes, Jason, you did this. No, I didn't. I might have had the vision originally, but it never was this even, and it's changed as we've grown. And I can't say enough about my team, man. And the volunteers that jumped in, the lady that ran the cornhole tournament. I didn't touch the cornhole tournament this year. Like, she took it and just completely ran with it. That's and awesome. Never asked for a dime, never asked for food, never at nothing. She just wanted to help out. My sister and her friend Crystal, they jumped in. They were selling raffle tickets. They were, doing all that kind of stuff. And and helped with parking, and they were helping set up trees, and they were kind of everywhere. So it's those kind of people that made the event happen.
Yeah.
I got on and ran my mouth and talked about it. So
Yeah, I feel the exact same way about the gunroom radio. There's no, it wouldn't be where it is today if I didn't have the help that I have. You know, um, so I completely get what you're saying. That team behind the scenes is, you can hype all day long, but the real mission's not going to happen if you don't have the people.
right, yep, exactly. And and we're looking to add volunteers to our board, because we realized this year that was a lot for our 5 board members to handle. My wife jumped in. She was in selling tickets for a while. Jenny, Ron's wife, was out there giving out wristbands, and Coco and Jesse, they were working the Wheels for Warrior stuff and the Herostock stuff. And it was a lot for us to handle. And I made a joke the other night, and I said, I got it from the podcast with you, and I had to go to the other end of the building, and I think it took me 12 minutes to get to the other end of the building, because I'd take 3 steps and, Jason, come here, and I'd go over there and talk to them, and I'd turn to go to walk away, and, Jason, come here, and I'm 3 steps later, 3 steps, and it is literally 3 steps at a time, and I was veering off to the right or left, and but it was cool, because I'm going to tell you right now, I shook more hands and gave more hugs in that 24-hour period than I probably have in 30 years. Just, I got to meet guys, battle buddies, that, they had the gun in their mouth when their buddy walked in, and this buddy literally saved his life, and this guy introduced me to him, and he's like, I owe my life to this guy, and I got to meet those kind of people, and talk to Corporal Dagan Page's family briefly. And, he was part of the United 13, the 13 from the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And, they were there, they were supporting, they were one of my sponsors. So it was super cool for me to be able to meet the amount of people that I met. I wish I could remember names, because I remember about 4 of them.
Same way, man.
That day was kind of a blur for me. I think I saw 1 song from Taylor, 1 song from the Blue Collar, 1 song from Barbara, 1 song from Scotty, 1 song from Joe, and I didn't even get to see the Dylan Bloom band play, because that was when the debacle of the raffle happened. So I didn't even get to see him play. But it was I knew that was going to be the whirlwind, and I'm giving props to Jesse and Coco for the pre-party. I was the one that threw it out there. They're the one that got the house, the Airbnb, and I started inviting people, and he's like, dude, how many people did you invite? I'm like, I don't know. I just started telling everybody about it. We ended up with 20, 25 people in that house.
It's quite a few.
Yeah, but it ended up being a great time.
Yeah.
And, getting to sit around with Scotty and Taylor and Barbara and Joe and listen to them just peck around and play. And
that was my favorite moment right there.
Yeah.
Was everybody kind of gathered around the front room, and the guitars got broke out and songs were being played. And dude, it felt like when you're deployed and you're all sitting outside the hooch, and everybody's telling stories and strumming on the guitar and singing songs. And dude, for me, that was the moment, man. I didn't take a whole lot of pictures with my phone or do a lot of videos, but I videoed that,
I did too. Yep. I realized, so I woke up Sunday morning. I actually woke up late. They had to come in and take my keys, and because I was the last one parked in there, and they had to get Scotty to the airport the next morning. So Ace from Wheels for Warriors comes running in. He wakes me up at 5 o'clock. He's like, dude, we need your keys. We got to get Scotty to the airport. And I'm like, oh, what the? And at this point, I've been asleep for like 4 hours, 3 hours. And I was like, what? Oh, they're in my pocket. And then Scott's like, hey, so I need to get a check from you. I'm like, son of a bitch, that's in my wallet. And like, I was a mess. And they ended up getting into the airport and getting him sent off. And I was kind of bummed that I didn't get my ass up and go. But, you know, the house was definitely probably the most memorable for me because, you know, Saturday was literally just a blur. You know, from the time we got there to set up and we had vendors that had backed out. We had vendors that had jumped in. We had vendors that showed up that I didn't even know were going to show up.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I mean, people just came in and set up a tent. And I'm like, where the hell did they come from? You know, and it was cool. It was fine. They did fine out there, but it was like, well, I didn't even know they was coming here. So, you know, it just, you know, Saturday was just such a blur that I knew Friday was going to kind of be my night to get to sit for a minute and really kind of soak it in. And you know, Saturday was amazing. We had, my daughter made me cry. Wheels for Warriors made me cry. I was, you know, that Ricky made me cry when I was on the podcast with you guys. And, you know, it was a very emotional day for me because it was like, this was my vision and it hit, like it worked, and people are having fun and they're enjoying themselves and they're, you know, meeting other people and they're meeting other vendors and getting to be with these nonprofits and seeing what they're doing. And, you know, we put 6 bands on stage, you know, and a short amount of time. I mean, 8 hours is not long to put 6 bands on stage.
No.
And, you know, and getting to have Joe Allen Christie and Barbara Sim be able to play, you know, giving them that time slot to be able to play. And Dean Schaefer, I can't say enough about that dude, my sound and light guy.
Oh, yeah.
He nailed it. I mean, he really nailed it. And, you know, I've been to a couple of his shows and he always does a great job. But like what he did there, man, it like far exceeded what he usually does. And, you know, so I was super excited, you know, to have him come in and do what he did. And last minute, you know, add that time for Barbara and Joe to be able to jump up on stage and have a little bit of the spotlight too. And, you know, that's my goal with the singer side of it now, you know, is I want to be able to highlight these veteran and first responder singers that they're good. They're amazing singers. And, you know, like Joe Allen Christie, he just got with his band and he's got a couple hundred followers. Like, there is no reason why he shouldn't have 20,000 people following him.
Yeah.
You know, it's just people don't know him.
And that's, you know, that's kind of where, you know, I came into that mission as well, because I discovered when I started having them on my podcast, the talent that these guys have. And the world that we live in now is not, people think it's easier to get known now because they see all these guys, because it's in your face, you know, when somebody blows up like Oliver Anthony, you know, Zach Bryan, you know, so everybody thinks, oh, all you got to do is just have that one great TikTok and you're instantly famous. But what they don't understand is if that doesn't happen in a very short amount of time of you first posting, it's not going to happen, because the algorithm will bury you. And you didn't get the attention when you first started, when you're being highlighted while you're new, you're not going to get it 2 years down the road.
Right.
Yeah. And at that point now you're grinding, trying to build a following.
Yep.
You know, YouTube and Spotify and all these guys, they're not going to just resurrect them and bring them up, you know, unless just something amazing happens. And that's why, you know, I went forward with this radio station, was to get rid of the algorithms. There is no algorithm, you know. I just want people to have airtime, and we've grown so much now. We're moving into genres so that people continue to get plenty of airtime, you know. So yeah, I understand exactly what you're talking about when you say you wanted to highlight these people because they are good, and the average person that surfs the internet's not going to go digging. You know, if you type in veteran musician, all you're going to get is, I know because I've done it, you're going to get Elvis Presley, Willie Nelson, George Strait, all these huge famous people that serve.
Craig Morgan. Yep.
Right? That's what you're going to get is
Yep.
that's, you're not going to find the Barbara Sims and Scotty Hastings and people like that. It's not going to happen unless you type something specific to them. But if you don't know type, so
Yep.
I do get it, and I do think that these guys have it just as hard now as what the older people did before the internet, where they were knocking down doors and hopefully finding the right person to take them where they needed to go. It's just now.
It may actually be harder, honestly, because you've got so many people that are flooding the internet with, people that can't sing, and they're flooding anything hashtag songwriter, hashtag, and you can't get your name in edgewise because you've got 900,000 people out there trying to be the next Oliver Anthony.
Yeah.
And it may actually be harder now than going and beating down doors and going from venue to venue going, hey, can I get a spot to play?
On the business side of it, I would agree with you 100% because in the olden days, it was about selling cassettes. I mean, people starting out were literally selling their CDs and their cassettes out the back of their cars to try to make a living. And now all that's gone. Nobody buys CDs and cassettes anymore. And the artists less than a penny for every song that's played. It would take probably 6 months of them streaming to be able to fill their car up one time with gas. I mean, that's literally like that. So now if you're not getting brought to Herostock and paid to play or another event, guess what? Money's tight. Christmas is going to be sick,
Yeah. And people don't know you.
Right.
That's kind of where Herostock's headed. We're still sticking with the thought of bringing in the vendors that are amazing. We want to bring in these nonprofits that we can literally look at their books and go, okay, they're on the up and ups on the books. We talk to some of their people. Okay, yep, everybody that we've talked to, they're 100% down with this organization because they do things right. We want to bring those type of vendors in. We're not bringing a vendor in if we can look at their books and go, you haven't filed anything for 4 years. Sorry, you're not part of this at that point. Get your books fixed and then we can talk. But until then, you're not part of this. And then on the flip side of that, we want to grab that big headliner. We want to grab a Kid Rock. We want to grab a Jelly Roll. We want to grab a Craig Morgan, a Dolly Parton, a Reba McEntire, somebody that people are going to see that name on the bill and they're going to go, I want to come to this show because of the headliner.
Yeah.
But then we stack 3 or 4 or 5 veteran singers or first responder singers underneath of them. And now, like Joe Allen, even at Herostock, when he got on stage, he's like, man, this is the biggest crowd I've ever played in front of.
Yeah.
We had 800 people. He's usually sitting at a bar, playing to the 10, 12, 20, 30, whatever it is in the bar. So that's what we want to do is have these people get in front of, these amazing singers, put them in front of the 10, 20, 50, 60,000 people, whatever it is, and give them that chance to have somebody go, holy shit, Barbara Sim is amazing. I'm going to start following her. And have somebody there from a record label go, why isn't she signed yet?
Yeah.
Where has she been? Well, she's been around. You just haven't seen her because she got buried in algorithms.
Yep.
So that's really, honestly, that's my focus for the concert side of it, is to be able to highlight those veteran and first responder singers and let the world see who they are and how freaking amazing they are.
Yep. And that's, the other side of that too. I kind of want to take a card from Operation Encore too. And, I haven't decided whether partner or somehow do it myself, but I want to get it to where these artists have a place to go and get music recorded. not like recorded like from me. I mean, bring in a real sound engineer to help record, you know, and that's one of my goals for Gunroom Radio is to get as much music, you know, out there in circulation and produced so that the sound quality and everything is at that level, you know.
Right.
And hell, you know, maybe make a bunch of CDs and sell them at the hero stock events for these, you know, artists or whatever, you know.
Yep.
It's not cheap to be a full-time artist. It's not easy, you know.
Right.
You better have a extremely tight budget because, you know, there's a whole lot going more out that's going than coming in, you know.
Yep.
And I see it, man. And that's, you know, my days of having the desire to be rich and famous are over. Now it's about, you know, I just want to be a part of helping somebody get to where their dreams were, you know.
Sure.
I had my, and now I just want to pass that forward. And so
Yep.
that's where, you know, when I came across you guys, I wanted to be a part of it as much as possible. And, you know, I didn't want to do the same thing or take anything away. I just, you know, I wanted Gunroom Radio to be able to complement what you're doing and just help get the word out there. And
Yep.
as far as the nonprofits, man, we need to get with them and let's create some ads and advertisements and put them on Gunroom Radio. You know,
Sure.
I don't charge anybody, any of the nonprofits for airtime, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
we can get some of the words out from them too, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, you know, I had great sponsors this year, you know, other than, you know, the one that had to back out, you know, that one almost blew me apart. But, you know, Roman Warriors Foundation from Nashville, they jumped in. Like I had it, I posted it on Facebook, and literally probably 30 minutes after I had it up, Corporal Dagan Page's family, she emailed me, Wendy, she's like, hey, we will take a spot. We will take one of the gold spots. I'm like, awesome. Okay, that cuts it in half of what, you know, we thought we were going to have come in. And then before the end of the evening, I had a text from Brian Roman, and he was like, brother, I want to talk to you about the sponsorship. So we talked the next day. I was actually headed to Ashland for a podcast. Shocker. I was headed up there, and you know, we connected on the road, and he's like, hey man, we'll take the other spot. He goes, we obviously can't make it, but we'll take the other spot from you. And I was like, awesome. So within maybe 12 hours of posting, we had everything covered, you know, and it was incredible to me to see people jump in that quick. And, you know, we were in need. I hate asking for help. And I threw it on Facebook, and boom, within 12 hours, it was covered up. And you know, we were back to good to go. Cause, you know, we kind of did it a little backwards this year. We had the venue booked. We had the bands booked. We had basically everything set up. Yeah. I mean, it was like completely set up. And then we're like, okay, well, shit, now we got to get $20,000. It was like, I guess here we go. You know, we started sending out letters, and we started talking to people, and I was pitching it to the VFW and the Legion and the AMVETs and the Gold Star Mothers, and the I hit everything I could hit, you know, as far as pitching it, and at the Legion 1919 here in town, and you know, everybody jumped in and helped out, and we ended up covering the event, and barely covered the event with what we had in the bank before it started. And, you know, by the end of it, we're actually putting money in the bank for next year to be able to start planning early instead of having to wait for donors to come in and that kind of thing. So
that's the other side of this. And I didn't see it either. I'm going to be completely honest, until I decided to go that route with the radio station and make it a nonprofit. You know, people hear the words nonprofit, and it's like they assume that just goodwill and nature makes it happen. It still takes dollars, you know, and there is still a business side of this. Nonprofit doesn't mean that it doesn't need money. You know, nonprofit just means that we're not taking any of it to our house to make our Porsche payment with,
Right.
It's about having to raise the funds, like you just said. I mean, that event was amazing and everybody's talking about it, but the reality was it still took $20,000.
Yep.
And
shit ain't free.
No.
No matter what the government tells you, shit ain't free.
And I talked to you a lot offline about, the finances and it just gets stressful, of trying to keep the radio going and getting the nonprofit stuff money created to move forward. And even that even sounds great. I got my 501c, I moved forward. Great. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Right. Right. Well, and it's $1,500 to $2,000 for your nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's another, $1,000 a year for your insurance. It's another $1,000 a year for your bookkeeping stuff. It's, and just your general overhead, your day-to-day operation stuff, and you're probably more than we are because you have the licenses and the, and some of that kind of stuff. And you don't realize until you get into it and you're like, well, holy shit, we put some money in the bank, but okay, but we've got all this that goes out every single month. That it'll tear through 10 grand pretty quick when you start looking at your general overhead. And we're 100% volunteer.
Yeah.
I don't take a dime.
Yep. Yeah. Nobody from Gunroom Radio does either. Right. There ain't a dime to take, but none of us have asked for a salary or anything, as a matter of fact, the few things that I do pay for, that charges, I pay that out of my check. That doesn't come out of Gunroom Radio, and it's just hard, man. I don't know any other way to say it because when you're first starting out, there's so much that you don't know what questions to ask.
Right.
There's gimmicky, and I've looked. There's gimmicky things that you can look online to find the handbook of how to create a 501c, but it's all gimmicky, man. If it doesn't mean anything to you and you don't have the drive for the mission that you want to accomplish, it's all for nothing anyways. So,
right.
I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and I'm doing it slow, because I want to do it right. And, I'm just thankful I got somebody like Herostock that, you guys kind of mentor us. As a matter of fact, you're on my board as an advisor, because I see the stuff you're doing, and I know what you guys are. I know you're stand up and you're out there for the right reasons.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't even want to go back and look. I know I'm going to have to come tax time, but I don't even want to go back and look and see how much I've taken out of my pocket this year.
Yeah.
Like I might get divorced if she actually sees what I took out of pocket this year. It's been a chunk of change, and it literally, I'm still on the job site. As we're doing this podcast, I'm still on the job site, and that's what's paying for, the nonprofit status. That's what's paying for, the first group of hats because we didn't have money and we were going to an event. We needed hats. It's what paid for all the tumblers. And that kind of thing. So it's like, you really have to be passionate about what you're doing if you want to start a nonprofit, because money does not just fall from the sky. Like, you really have to go push yourself out there and get things done to, be able to make an event happen. That will help start putting some money back in the bank. And it's going to take 3 or 4 or 5 years before Herostock really starts seeing the money in the bank that needs to be in there to do what our vision is.
Yeah.
Unless we find somebody that really grabs a hold of it and goes, here's $1 million check, and
I'm going to have to DoorDash for at least 5 more years because that's room rate.
Right. Exactly. You should have like Godfather's Pizza and Gunroom Radio, like on your top of your car when
You laugh. I actually Googled this. Can you get in trouble for attaching business cards to people's food when you deliver? I Googled that.
That's awesome.
Gunroom Radio, just the business cards that had Gunroom Radio and the link for the radio station, you know.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean that's what pays for it. So yeah, I get it.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
your
So
tiles, 5,000 square foot tiles. You know.
you're right. Yeah, exactly. I'm out in the 118-degree sun laying tile so that we can pay for this thing. No, the thing is, it's like your own kid, you know, and you get to watch your kid grow up, and that's kind of where we're at right now. You know, we're kind of at the crawling stage, and you know, at some point this thing will kind of become an independent piece, you know, and kind of run itself to a certain degree, and or we'll settle in more and be able to have, you know, those experiences that we've had for the couple of years and go, okay, well, that's, you know, we don't need to do that because that didn't work, but let's do it this way, and you know, and that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
but
Man.
I'm telling you, Herostock 24, like Jesse is ramped up for it. Me and Jesse are the dreamers. We push the boundaries as far as we can. But he's amped up for it. I'm amped up for it. You know, we're looking 2 days. You know, I've already talked to Scotty. Shannon Book said he doesn't give a shit if we've got him booked or not. He's bringing his band and he's playing anyway.
Yeah.
You know, Barbara's always welcome back. Joe Allen's always welcome back. Malicious has reached out. What's that?
There's a name out there that we need to have come out, because that dude, I've seen some of his videos from when he plays, and man, he's on fire. That is Scotty Frazier.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
when
that dude is on stage,
he's on my hit list.
Yeah.
So, you know, our heavy metal night may not be all heavy metal, you know, because we got reached out to by Lockjaw last year or this year. He wanted to come in and play, and we just couldn't make it happen. We didn't have time slots. But he's friends with Five Finger Death Punch and, you know, Breaking Benjamin and Drowning Pool. And so he threw out some big names for the headliners for the heavy metal or the rock night. You know, Scotty's friends with Craig Morgan. He's kind of said, hey, you know, let me do a little bit of this and that, and we'll see what can happen. And, you know, so I don't know who our headliners are going to be yet, but they're going to be big headliners. We're going to put on a show. It's going to top this year. Because my drive is to make it bigger and better every year. I want to have 100 vendors out there next year. And I want national to come in and look at it and go, man, we need to be a part of this. I want Gary Sinise Foundation to go, I want to have a table there. Hey, Jason, can we have a table there? That's what I want, right? To get to that point where we've got those type of entities coming to us, the Tunnels for Towers, and wanting to be a part of this and seeing what we're doing and, you know, highlighting their stuff too, even though they're in the spotlight already, you know, highlighting what they do and showing what they do. But I also want that mom and pop, small grassroots, you know, literally they're digging out of their pocket to make things happen. I want them there too. You know, I want them there as much of a presence as the Tunnels for Towers. Yeah. You know, so that's kind of where Herostock's headed. And we've got, you know, like I said, I think we're looking at 4 locations next year. So that's going to be kind of our test run to see how it goes. And then if that goes well, we don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. Only up, man. That
only up.
That is it. Well,
we're up to 20 states that we've been invited to.
Really?
To do this. Yeah.
Wow.
Every coast, top, bottom, like all the way around the United States, we've been invited to 20 different states to come in and do this show at. So
I'm telling you, man, there's a Herostock coming near you.
Just wait. It'll be there.
Absolutely. Well, brother, we're gonna go ahead and call it. If you don't mind hanging on, there's something I want to talk to you about real quick before you go back to work. And I appreciate all y'all tuning in, and y'all be safe. And next year, bring your ass to Hero Stock. Y'all
Hell
take
yeah.
care.